Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to swing trade SQQQ, which is an inverse of the QQQ market. And what that means is if the NASDAQ, the overall NASDAQ goes down, the SQQQ index ETF will go up in value. So what I did is I started my position. I did $2,100 at $17.50 a share for a total cost basis of 17.5, which you can see right here. So I have 120 shares, 17.5, $2,100. My goal is to dollar cost average into this to about a $5,000 position, but this was my first entry. So far I'm up 1%, a little bit over 1% at $25. So this is a swing trade, and I'm going to get into the reason why I'm going to hold this for the month of September. So let's get into it. So on the Barron's website, I found data that September, the performance of the S&P 500 declines by 1.1%. Since I'm trading a triple leveraged ETF, that means it would be times 3. So that means that SQQ would go up 3.3%. So overall, from basically 1928 to 2022, the S&P 500's performance has declined every single September. So that's my thesis. But let's go back into QQQ now, and let's break down the chart, and let's look at it and see if it makes any sense why I'm entering this position. So when you trade SQQQ, which is shown right here at this symbol on the top left, you have to use QQQ, which is the NASDAQ. The SQQ will be the inverse of QQQ. So if QQQ goes up, that means SQQ goes down in value. But if the overall NASDAQ market starts to head down like this is, SQQ would go up in value. So I am virtually betting on that the NASDAQ is going to go down because it's the month of September. So we'll see how this plays out. So when you look at the NASDAQ overall over the max period, it really has only gone up. So this is obviously a more riskier investment. So you'd ask me, why am I doing this trade? The reason I'm doing this trade is for two reasons. This is the 5-year chart. This is the max. And now look at this nice V-shaped recovery by the NASDAQ. So anybody that bought the NASDAQ down at 260s, congratulations. Now, which resistance here at 404 in its lifespan? Remember, this was in the beginning of 2021, where it was 404. The NASDAQ over here in March and April and May was trading at 320s. But once it got up to here, we had some resistance. And this candle doesn't really do it justice. We got to go down and break it down to the 6-month chart. So we go into the 6-month chart. We have clear resistance, which I'm going to draw for you, right at this part. So we had resistance here. So let's draw this out. If we go to the rectangle, resistance there, go to the next rectangle, we almost had resistance right here. Then here it goes. This is when I made my previous video. It broke out here, went all the way up, and look where it retested, right in this area. Interesting, right? How it had resistance here, resistance here. It finally broke out, and where does it want to retest? It retested the same area that it was resistance once before. Now, my overall thesis is that our next resistance zone, and this is why I'm dollar cost averaging in, is going to be around 384. Now, I'm a little impatient, and I want to get in the SQQ position already because we have a little bit of resistance right in this area, in this zone, which let me show you. Right in this area is a little bit of resistance. And clearly you can see that it has broken through. So I am expecting the QQQ to either go up to 384 here, which if you look at that percentage move right here, 378 up to 384 is a 1.37% move. That means I would be down about 4% on SQQ. But I'm going to plan on buying more SQQ up here at this 384 level. And I'm going to show you SQQ so you can understand where I'm buying at. but I just want you to understand the percentage because I'm trading a triple leverage fund. So 1.35% move up. And then my goal is it's going to sell off back down here to retest the 356. And to do the math on that, it's going to be about that's a 7% drop for QQQ, which is a 21% gain for SQQ. So that's my goal for the month of September. But let's take a look at SQQQ so you can see what I'm looking at. Now let's look at the max history. This thing is dead. I guess I don't really understand how this works because it was trading at 400 and now it's down to 98%. It doesn't make any sense. But it's an inverse leverage, so it decays over time. But if you go to the low, go on the 1 year, the low is at 16.38. So looking at the low of 16.38, let's go to 3 months. We see that there is clear resistance here at the 2148. Zooming out. Once again, you can just see right here, it broke through. It retested, failed right here, and now it's trending back down. So where is my stop? My stop is if it breaks 16.38. Now you have to account for when you trade these triple leverage funds, which are not, they are more riskier. And this is why I'm not doing a huge share size position because I'm going against the overall market. My supply zone is all right here. So if I get a move down, and let's say SQQ is at 17.71 in the after hours, if it trades below 16.38, I'm losing 7% of my investment. But you got to remember, I'm going to be adding. So we spoke about this in QQQ. If we get that retest in this area right here, which we already said was a 1.5% move, I'm going to be adding to my position on the low and seeing, is it going to hold this 16.38 range? And because it decays, SQQ might not be 16.38. QQQ could retest that 384 high, and then SQQ could be a different price target because it decays over time. Hence why I'm only holding this for about 4 weeks. If the market goes up, I can just sell and take the loss. But my goal is to buy dollar cost average from 17.5. I'm going to rebuy at 16.9. So if you think about that, 17.5, I bought my first 120 shares. Now I'm going to rebuy at 16.9 I have $2,100 invested. So I'm going to add another $2,900 in when it's 3.5% down. And my goal, so now I'm going to have a cost basis of about $17.15. My goal now is to sell it back at the resistance level up here for a 20% gain. So I'm going to be risking less than 5% of my investment to make 20%. That's the goal of this investment. So if I own it at $17.15 with the cost basis of buying it at 16.9 and 17.5, and it breaks this low of 16.38, I am risking, and we can give it a little more for decay purposes, 16.3. I'm risking 5%. 5% of my investment of $5,000. So what is 5% of $5,000? That's $250 that I'm risking. And I'm going to try to swing this all the way, let's do it from 17.5, all the way back up to at least $21. That's a 22% gain. So let's say we have $5,000 investment times 0.2 to make $1,000. So I'm risking $250 to make $5,000. And that's my risk to reward ratio. All right, so what is SQQQ? This basically is just an investment that is 3x, negative 3x of whatever the NASDAQ 100 is. The NASDAQ is your big companies, the Apple, the Microsoft, the Amazon, the Tesla. And when NASDAQ goes up, the SQQ, this fund goes down in value. And you will see when we look at the overall chart it is down significantly on the year because the market has been so bullish. So basically, it's just it has top 40 holdings, and what it's doing is it holds these NASDAQ index swap international, basically the NASDAQ index Barclays, and this is why it decays over time. So overall, it's a risky investment. It's not something that you want to have holding long term. It's a more of a short term play looking at it. But look at the chart on this. This thing has died. Let's break into it. Look at that. Over time, it has just sold off completely. So this is not something that you want to invest in long term. This is more of a riskier trade. But let's just go to year to date so you can see. So looking at SQQ in 1 year, it went all the way down, all the way up, I should say, from a high of almost $69. That's not working. But from a high of $69, let's see if we can draw a line or something here. Let's draw the Garley. Yeah, there you go. All the way down to $17. Now, I don't know what that means, the Garley, so forgive me for that. So our goal is to try to make a good... I'm not sure what I'm doing with this, to be honest. I don't know why this chart is doing this. There we go. Anyway, so our goal is to try to swing trade this from about an average of $17 and try to sell it back up. And the goal is to get it at least at like $21. But we'll see. I think it's a good hold for now. If it breaks this new low at 16.38, then we know we got to exit the position, take our loss, and accept it. But we'll try to make the $250 risk to make 1,000.